All right, welcome. Today, we're diving into a language that's way more influential than any line of code or any spoken dialect on the planet. It's this hidden language that shapes your choices, your career, even how you see the world. Let's dive right in.
So just think about this for a second. What's the single most important language for getting by in our modern world? I mean, is it a coding language like Python? Or maybe a global one like English or Mandarin?
Well, the answer might actually surprise you. It's not code. It's the language of data. Every single day, we are creating and consuming just massive amounts of it. From the apps on your phone to the news you read, data is the invisible force shaping our lives. And look, understanding it isn't optional anymore, it's absolutely essential. So how in the world do you get fluent in this universal language? Well, it all starts with something called data literacy. And don't worry, you don't have to be a tech wizard. Think of it less like a super technical skill and more like a fundamental way of communicating and just understanding the world around you. At its core, data literacy really boils down to three simple things. First, can you understand the data you're looking at? Second, can you work with it to find some answers? And third, can you explain what you found to other people in a way that actually makes sense? It's really all about turning noise into meaning. To really get a grip on this, we need a kind of roadmap, and I found a brilliant model for this called the data pyramid. It's a great way to see how we can take all these raw, messy facts and transform them into powerful insights. Okay, so check this out, and see how each level builds on the last one. You start at the very bottom with raw data. Let's say it's just a long, messy list of daily sales figures, pretty useless on its own. But when you organize it by week, boom, it becomes information. Then you spot a pattern. Hey, sales spike every single Saturday. That's knowledge. And then the light bulb moment. You realize it's because that's when most people get their paycheck. That is wisdom. It's this climb from just having facts to really understanding.
So here's the big takeaway from that. Collecting data? That's the easy part. Anybody can do that. The real power comes from climbing that pyramid, from moving past just knowing what is happening to truly understanding why it's happening. That's where all the best decisions are made. Now, not all data is created equal, and if you really want to tell a compelling story with it, you've got to understand the different types you might be working with, and that brings us to the two main categories of data.
On one side, you've got qualitative data. Think of this as the why and the how. It's descriptive, it's made up of words, characteristics, people's motivations. On the other side is quantitative data. This is the how many and how often. It's all about the numbers, measurements, things you can count, like cricket scores or the total on a restaurant bill. You really need both to see the full picture. Let's make this real, because you use these skills every day without even realizing it. Imagine you're buying a new video game online. First, you use quantitative data when you filter everything by price. Then, you use a mix of both when you check user ratings. You've got the quantitative star rating and the qualitative written reviews. And finally, you scan the textual data in the product description to make sure it has all the features you're looking for. See, you're already way more data literate than you probably thought.
Of course, with all this data flying around comes a huge amount of responsibility. We cannot talk about data literacy without talking about how to protect it, and maybe more importantly, how to protect ourselves. This is where privacy and security become absolutely critical.
Now, people tend to use these two terms interchangeably, but they are very distinct. Data privacy is all about the rules. It's about what data can be collected and why. It's about your rights and your consent. Data security, on the other hand, is about the defenses, the technical stuff like firewalls and encryption used to protect that data from hackers and other threats. You need both to be truly safe.
So, let's get practical. On the protection side of things, there are some total non-negotiables. Think of things like strong, unique passwords and two-factor authentication as the digital deadbolts on your doors. And hey, just like you wouldn't invite a total stranger into your house, only download software from sources you trust, and always look for that secure HTTPS in a website's address. Keeping your software updated patches the very holes that hackers are looking for. These simple habits build a powerful defense.
And then, on the flip side, are the things you should just avoid doing, period. Think of your personal data like digital cash. Be careful with it. Be skeptical of any random request for your information, especially from weird emails or suspicious links. And this should go without saying, but your password is like your bank account's PIN number. Never, ever, ever share it.
Okay, let's bring all of this together. We've talked about what data is, how to make sense of it, and how to protect it. But why does all of this really matter so much?
You know, this quote really hits the nail on the head. Data can be used to tell any story someone wants it to, whether it's true or completely false. Without data literacy, we're all at risk of being misled by charts that are designed to deceive or statistics that have been yanked out of context. Being data literate is your defense against that.
Ultimately, this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's an empowerment tool. It gives you the ability to think critically, to question the information you're being fed, and to make decisions in your personal life, in your career, and as a citizen that are based on actual evidence, not just emotion or a random anecdote.
So I'll leave you with this. Every day, your actions create data, and that data tells a story about you. At the same time, all the data you see everywhere else is telling a story to you. The real question is, are you in control of the narrative? With data literacy, you can be.